Bonjour tout le monde, this is Midas Letter RAW, and here we have Special Ed, and I'm here because James is in Los Angeles, because we do that sometimes.
Yeah, you just never know with this show, you just never know.
Yeah, and I sound a little bit off. It's not because I'm hungover, which I've been accused of. I did watch the Raps game, I drank 1 glass of wine, but I have 2 little kids that are in daycare, which is a cesspool of disease, so here I am. Here I am.
So there's you can say, are you hung over or are you hung? No.
I'm overly
Dowd.
Yes.
Anyway, let's not go there.
Yeah, so you saw the Raps game too last night, right?
I actually made the bet before the series started, the Raps would win. So for every $1 you bet, you get back $3.30.
Yeah.
So the next question is, how much did you bet? Well, I'll full disclosure, I bet 300, so I got back 990.
That's pretty good. That's better than the stock market.
Well, so you're getting, you got to get your money back, right? So even though the money is plus 330, that means that it's either plus 230 or plus 330. I forget how it works, but you get your money back. Plus, they were underdogs, big time. And they really played like they should have been the favorites.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it's easy to say in retrospect, right?
No, I mean, even if you're not from here, I think it was a really entertaining series. But let's take a look at what's coming up on this show, shall we?
Yeah.
We have news with Suzanne Garcia, and then we have something I'm really looking forward to. Kirk Shaw, who's the CEO of Wonderfilm Media, which is bit different than a lot of the stuff we have.
Yeah, you're telling me about it. It's an interesting company.
Yeah, and then we have Anthony Durkatz, who World Class Extractions. James talked to him, and Mark Seelenfrund from Seattle Mobile, which James has been in contact with them for quite a while, actually. I think he did something a few years ago with them. We're going to look at some charts, potentially, and then Chris Heath from Ventura Cannabis. So, it's a
now
Ventura
Cannabis, is that new?
They're not. What do you mean by new?
Was it a relatively new organization? I don't know that one. I've never.
James did that interview, so I've heard of them.
Okay.
I know they've been around for at least a few months, if that helps. Did you think it was a new listing or something like that?
Yeah.
It's VCAN.
VCAN?
Yeah.
We can go anywhere we want.
Yeah, this is Germans.
Because I'm from the Germany, so we can do this.
Yes.
We can.
So what else? Where have you been?
Well, so look at the market's looking a little whatever. So I think gold. That's why gold got a bid. If you notice, gold, not gold stocks, which is different than gold.
Yeah.
Gold bullion's up about $70, $80 in the last 2 weeks an ounce, which is not.
What's the total?
Right now we're about $13.50 an ounce, which is near the upper end over the last 5 years. We're getting close to the upper end of the range in the last 5 years.
Yeah,
it's been trending sideways, like from about $11.50 to $13.50, give or take. So.
And did you know that we're releasing an actual gold site tour next week? We haven't so far. They've all, as far as I know, they've all been cannabis.
I want to talk a little bit later on the show when we get into the charts, etc., about a company I had on here that's now drilling. The company is called Walker River Resources, WRR.
Yeah.
And it was around 8-9 cents, and it's now 16.
Yeah.
But they have got money and they've got the right land, and we'll put up a chart a little later.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll give a little shout out. So the company that we went and saw is Galane Gold.
Oh yeah, right.
So they've got 2 operations there. So that's fun. It's something different. And as you said, it's becoming, the price is moving up. Maybe some of the junior tickers will.
I've been around this game for 40 years, and I will say I don't think I've ever. And for the first 10 years, I probably didn't know anything, so you could ask me any question and it wouldn't have mattered. But I would say that the discrepancy, or at least the the valuations of junior resource companies has never been lower. It's a buyer's market. I mean, you people have great properties. They can't raise money.
No. Yeah.
So that's going to have to change at some point because we need these commodities for the world to grow.
Yeah.
And yet nobody seems to give a shit right now.
Well, I give a shit, Ed. You know who else gives a shit?
Who?
Suzanne Garcia with the news.
And here's what's making news in the cannabis stock markets today. Choom unveils its retail concept and experience tomorrow in Niagara Falls, Ontario. As one of 25 cannabis stores authorized to open in the province, Choom Niagara provides a curated selection of premium products in an immersive environment designed to elevate and empower consumers. In addition to holding distinction as Niagara Falls' first cannabis store, Choom Niagara represents the brand's debut retail presence in Ontario. MedMen Enterprises today announced its expansion into Florida with the opening of a retail location in West Palm Beach. One of the 15 new locations MedMen plans to open across the U.S. in 2019, 12 will be in Florida, where the company is licensed for up to 35 retail locations. True Trace Technologies began trading on the Canadian Securities Exchange under the symbol TTT. True Trace Technologies has developed the first integrated blockchain platform to register and track intellectual property in the cannabis industry. True Trace technology allows cannabis growers and breeders to identify and secure rights to their intellectual property. It has also streamlined the administrative process and reduced the cost of genetic and mandatory quality control testing for legal cannabis. Vapin MJ Ventures announced its common shares are now listed on the Frankfurt Stock Exchange, trading under the ticker symbol VV5. The company continues to be listed on the Canadian Securities Exchange under the ticker symbol VAPN. Chiron Life Sciences Corp. today announced the appointment of Wendy Kaufman as CFO effective July 2, 2019. Ms. Kaufman, a chartered professional accountant, brings over 20 years of international financial experience, having served most recently as CFO at Passinix Resources Limited. Ms. Kaufman has significant experience with Latin American operations, gained during her tenure as CFO at Primero Mining, and previously in her role as Vice President, Finance and Treasury at Inmet Mining Corporation, among other executive management positions. And that's your news for today.
Thanks, Suzanne. And
Wait a minute.
You sound like you're listening to nature.
Okay, I was just looking at a video of a golfer. Somebody
Tiger?
said, no, this is a joke.
Okay.
Okay.
But you are interested in watching Tiger progressing, which is.
I'm interested in records. I like to see records made. Somebody do something that I think back then it was easier because there was a lot less competition, a lot less money. But now these golfers are built like there's.
I heard Tiger has to go through that 5-hour regimen before he plays, which just sounds like, why bother? Because of his back.
Like the regimen was go down to the bar and have a few beers, and then chat up all the waitresses and
Yeah.
I could see doing that to get ready for golf, but to actually spend 5 hours working. I'm not that kind of guy. That's the hard part is the practice, Everybody can go out there and be in the limelight, but who can do the practice?
I don't know.
Who?
I don't know. So I guess we should mention James and his affairs in Los Angeles.
Yeah, James is on the West Coast. He seems to be, it seems to suit his mercurial nature.
Yeah. But he's busy down there, and he's conducted some interviews. We're not going to go there right this second, but we will at some point in the show. Some interesting stuff going on. I wanted to show this film company, which is of special interest to me.
Is that on now?
We're going to put it on in a second, but I just want to sort of tee it up by saying this was interesting to me because, I'm a filmmaker, and there's not a lot of film stocks.
Wait a minute, you're a filmmaker?
Yeah.
You're a filmmaker?
Yes.
Okay.
But there's not a lot of film stocks out there, and the immediate assumption is when someone thinks about making movies, you lose money.
Well, not everybody's making. I mean, you know, some of the people who live in Hollywood in these billion-dollar homes. I mean,
no, but like, you know, if you make 10 movies, you know, there's a huge gamble. So yeah, all the superhero movies, they're massive budgets, and when they hit a home run, they really knock it out of the park. But these guys are a bit different because they make a lot of films on a lower budget, between 1 and 10 million, I think, is the sweet spot for them, and they make money 9 out of 10 times. So that's pretty interesting to me.
So, but we're not talking big ticket items here. We're talking modest productions.
Yeah, modest productions, but they
make a lot of money.
And they have recognizable people involved. So there's like some UFC fighters. They've got a film coming out, I think, in September with John Travolta.
You mentioned it, John Travolta, not John Revolta.
It's not some guy with the same name, but it's a different guy, and you're like, oh, that would be kind of clever though too.
What if I said my name? My name was Fraser. I said, what if I tried to imitate you? You can't.
I'd like to see you try though.
That's impossible.
Yeah. I'm going to see if Donald and gang are. Can we roll that, or
how long have you known about this company?
Well, when you.
I'm joined now by Kirk Shaw, CEO of Wonderfilm Media Corp, trading on the TSX Venture under the symbol WNDR. Kirk, welcome.
Thank you, James.
Kirk, it's not every day we get a bona fide film production company in here. Tell me about the business model of Wonderfilm and how it's going to make a great experience for investors.
Okay, well, our business model is making low-budget movies that we pre-sell into the market, so there's no risk. So we make about 15 films a year, anywhere from $1 million to $10 million. Stars like as big as Nicolas Cage, John Travolta. You know, right now we're doing something with Ryan Phillippe, and so it varies, and we take the risk off the market because we pre-sell them.
Mm-hmm. So is this an opportunity that is more or less created by the explosion in online streaming media?
Well, I've done 250 movies, so I've been in the business a long time, but there's never been greater demand for content. The demand today for content is huge because you started with Netflix, now everybody's trying to compete with Netflix. Now you've got Apple, you've got Amazon, you've got Hulu, and just this huge list of internet companies that are getting into the business. Besides, you have the traditional networks and video on demand companies.
Mm-hmm. So how do you mitigate against the risk of losing money making a film?
Because we pre-sell them.
Pre-selling is the best risk
mitigator.
So
we were just in the Cannes Film Festival. We sold our own movie for the first time. We've started our own sales company. Mm-hmm. But we were selling a Nicolas Cage movie that was written and it's being produced by the guys that did Green Book. Mm-hmm. It's their first movie since winning the Oscar for Green Book. And so we're at the Cannes Film Festival meeting every country in the world, selling that movie to them. And so that we've pre-sold the movie and now it will go into production in July. So there's no risk because everything's been pre-sold.
Okay, so how do you see revenues ramping for the company in the 12-month, 24-month, 36-month scenario?
Right. I think we'll finish this year around $20 million, but we'll have deferred revenue of another $20 million, which goes into next year because we don't recognize our revenue until we deliver the movie. Mm-hmm. So we were 10 million a year ago, we'll do 20 million this year, but we'll be in the 60 to 70 million next year, and then we'll be over 100 million the year after that.
Wow. And so what kind of margin are you expecting?
I'm trying to get to a 5 to 8% EBITDA.
Okay. And that's pretty standard in the film industry?
Yeah.
Not right. So how does a Canadian filmmaker like yourself get access to all these big Hollywood names? It seems like this should be happening in Los Angeles, but in Toronto? Is Toronto really matured that much as a development marketplace?
No, I spend half my time in Los Angeles.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I'm there twice a month at least.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's the hardest part of my job is getting cast attached to films. So there's a lot of competition for the same cast. Mm-hmm. But let's say Nicolas Cage, this is our second movie in a year with him. We're talking to a third movie with him next November. I've probably done 6 movies with him so far.
Oh, okay. So for Nicolas Cage, you're a known quantity. He's not feeling that he's risking his reputation by participating. Interesting. So, what kind of films have you got coming up in the near future?
Well, we've got we've had a new film producer join us by the name of Sean Reddick. He won Oscars for Black Klansman and Get Out. Those were his last 2 films. So we're packaging features now with him for studios. So we've got just got the rights to do a film on Steve McQueen. We just got the rights to do a film on Rocky Marciano, which we're going to be doing with Sean. We've got a the Nick Cage movie with the Green Book writer and producer. We have a movie we're shooting right now with Ryan Phillippe. We have a movie with coming on with Anne Hesh and Thomas Jane, which is shooting in July. So we have quite a bit coming.
So when you pre-sell a film, I'm assuming that means you've already got cast attached.
Correct.
And that's what the distributor is buying, is this known script with a known cast that gives them a level of comfort.
Produced by known producer and known company.
Right.
Because I'm really in the delivery business, because they're gambling I can deliver.
Interesting. So what percentage of your films make money?
I'd say 90%.
90%, that's a pretty good average.
Especially if you've done 250 movies.
Yeah, no kidding. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so as a publicly traded entity, there's not a lot of film companies that are publicly traded, and looking at the performance of your stock since you went public, it's obvious that there's not a lot of uptake from the retail investment audience. And in your opinion, what is it that the retail investment audience is missing that gives you the ability to say in confidence that my stock is undervalued?
I think we're rebranding the company, because we started as a movie production company. We're rebranding ourselves as an entertainment company. I think that'll be easier for investors to relate to an entertainment company. We're doing TV movies, we're doing features. We have a TV series with Anthony Zeiker, who created CSI, that we have coming together. So we're becoming more of an entertainment company. And now we've joint ventured with a social media company that's going to help. We're helping them with their content creation of short content. They're going to help us with our marketing of our assets.
And in this age of online streaming and all these different sources of streaming video now, is it incumbent upon you to actually own a social media company to drive audience to your product?
Yeah, I think it's part of the way of the future is going to go. Is I'm going to be able to. My view is that the future. Let's say I'm doing a zombie movie, and so we shot a zombie movie in December. It's going to go. It'll be released this August, and in that zombie movie, as soon as we announce the movie, we will go to the social media company, identify which of their influencers speak to the horror community, so that we can start talking to the horror community as soon as the movie's announced. When we add actors and directors. In this case, we have the actor Ian Ziering, director from Sharknado as well, and we start building that audience as soon as we've announced the movie. While we're shooting the movie, we might run a contest where you can come and be a zombie in the movie, something like that to involve fans, and then when the movie's in post, we'll keep people informed, and then I believe when the movie's finished, today we deliver it to Sci-Fi Channel, who broadcast it worldwide. But I think in 3 years, through our Grapevine Logic company, that it'll talk to your personal assistant, which might be Alexa, it might be a robot at home. And your personal assistant's going to go, that zombie movie you've been following is now ready to download. It'll ask you, do you want to watch it? And you'll go, yeah, I'd like to watch it on Saturday night. And so your personal assistant will talk to us directly, not through Netflix, and say, we'll buy that zombie movie for $1.99. We get your $1.99, we give you a 30-day download of the zombie movie. Then your personal assistant's going to come to you and ask, do you want to invite any friends? Do you want some food? Your personal assistant will set everything up for Saturday night. Maybe it'll get you some edibles as well.
Yeah, right. I was going to say there's a film in there somewhere.
Yes, but I believe in 3 to 5 years, that's how content's going to be delivered.
So it sounds to me like you're predicting the death knell of Netflix.
Yeah, I think now the disruption of Netflix is over. The economic model of Netflix has now got to mature, and they're losing a lot of money. Netflix right now is $9 billion in debt, in junk bond debt. So that sucks all the revenue has to service the junk bond debt. from the subscriptions.
Sure. So
And if you, I don't know if you've been to Netflix recently, but go try to find a movie there.
well, I'm a avid consumer of Netflix content, and I come this close to unsubscribing every month because the level of what I would consider world-class entertainment is an ever-shrinking percentage of the rest of the stuff they've got on there. So certainly one gets a sense that the ability of Netflix to produce and project great content seems to be a losing game for them. So is this the future then, that where people are going to have a relationship directly with the studio?
Correct. I think so.
Wow. Well, that's an interesting future. All right. That's great, Kirk. Well, that's a great introduction. We'll leave it there for now. We'll have you back when you have another film come out. Thanks for joining me today.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So I thought that was really interesting.
If look, they're at no revenue.
The market cap's what, 9 million?
40. There's 40 million shares, say. So 40 million shares, stocks at 25 cents. I say 10 million. Let's say 10 million.
Okay.
If they're going to do, and this is what the guy said, right? He said 40 to 50 million, 50 to 60 million next year, and 100 million the year after.
That's what he said.
Well, then this could, if he's telling the truth, and I don't mean it that way.
Well, he expects it.
His forecasting is accurate. That's what I mean to say.
Yeah.
If his forecasting is accurate, then this stock should be trading at, and so he thought he could make 5% on his money.
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
So if he does 50 million, he makes $2.5 million.
Yeah.
You start doing all the math, this could easily be 5 times where it is.
Yeah.
Easily.
Well, here's the two things that I was saying to you is, what do you compare it to? And there's all the weed stocks to compete with. Maybe.
Well, weed stocks are in a different world. I mean, I don't think you want to. Weed stocks are part of a bubble. That was a bubble. We're
We're in it right. We're in it right now.
Well, yeah. I'm in a bubble.
No, but seriously, like there's not 15 film production, or maybe there is. I don't really know. I don't think there's a investor type that is specialized in just that. Maybe people that are looking to make some money, but where you know how you get experts in mining and all that kind of stuff, right? What do you do in this case?
Well, there was a company called, the guy I used to work with at Yorkton Securities, who was the chairman of the company, I believe, Scott Patterson. He got on the board of a company, Lionsgate Entertainment, and they made movies, right? I mean, look at there's a few of these companies out there. Excuse me. Until I start to see revenues being reported, which we haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
But when we do,
well, like
light up the rocket ship here.
Well, like he said, they're not all blockbusters. You get like no. He was talking about one movie with some UFC fighters, and they're shooting up a prison that he made for under $1 million. I think it was 800,000 US, just as an example. And then you sell it to Walmart straight to Blu-ray, DVD, and then video on demand services. So you're not trying to break box office records.
You're trying to generate cash flow.
But sure, who knows how much money you can make doing that. So I think it's a pretty interesting model, and the fact that like the movies are paid for in the pre-production phase because of his experience. So he can say, I'm going to make this movie, and they say, okay.
Yeah.
They give him the money to make the movie, and it's sort of like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
And you're telling me that this guy has the wherewithal to attract high-end talent. Like
he
John
was
Travolta.
John Travolta, Guy Pearce.
I didn't even recognize him. He looks so different. Maybe that's why he's.
Well, he had a mullet, which is actually something we joke around in the office.
You've got one now too. I see.
I was thinking. Listen, it's going to be.
You're following his footsteps.
No, it's going to come back into style. Trust me, it's going to become popular. Just watch.
Well, if you just wear one, all you need to do is get one, walk around the streets of Toronto, and before you know it, it'll be a world phenomenon.
It's already starting. I can see the seedlings. I'm telling you right now. A year from now, you're gonna see there's another cool guy with the mullet.
Should I get one?
I think you should. I'll do it. Why not? It's like beards, and I had a short beard in 2013, and now it's like, you're walking around in the path or around the building, you see these like giant Idomo men and what's his, Dan Blazarian is, he's got tangent. So what are we doing
look at this.
here?
Look at Organigrams down 59 cents today.
Oh, that's right.
Down 35. There's a lot of these things that look like they're.
So we had a viewer ask, I think he wanted you to talk about why Hexo is getting
well, let's take a look.
Destroyed.
Oh, I can't. I wanted to get it up.
Those US MSOs too are just getting obliterated too. Like obliterated.
Are they?
Well, Ianthus, I didn't expect to see it below 5, and it's at 4. I saw it there a second ago, but things are getting hammered out there.
Yeah.
But what do you think about the? Hexos is related to their earnings somewhat. Have you been following the Hexo story?
Well, I'll say it again. I've been on this show off and on now for almost a year. I think it was last June we started doing it, actually, so close to a year. And the biggest question always will be, will the fundamentals catch up to these valuations? And you can only get these valuations when huge amounts of money jump into a new area. And the marijuana space is a new area. So look, anytime there's any hint that they're missing, that they're not firing on all cylinders, the stock comes off. Because people say, well, wait a minute, I thought we were going to see this, and we didn't see it. So every time it doesn't happen, it takes a little longer. And that's, I guess, a way of saying, I see Wayland's still halted. Is that right?
That one I don't know. I didn't. I just see a sea of red. So I kind of honed in on a couple that really jumped off the page at me.
Curaleaf's down 71 cents today, down to 9.54.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you know what? We're gonna show another film here, and then at that point, I'm gonna get Donald to fix up my machine here so we can do some charting.
Donald, our good Irishman. What's that? You need a couple? What about our Anthony Durkatz interview? Can we go to that? Okay, so we're gonna show Durkatz and Pump, which is world class extractions, in a little bit. There's some technical stuff we have to get sorted out.
Okay.
But first, we're gonna go to a piece on Chiron to show their expansion.
Chiron's coming off here 17 cents today. That was $4.
I don't think anyone can trust. That jumped out at me. 660.
I know. What did that get to? $13?
14. So it's anyway. Here's Chiron.
Chiron Life Sciences Corp. is a Latin American-based pharmaceutical company that develops and commercializes medical cannabis products. Chiron has core operations in Colombia and is fully licensed in the country for the cultivation, production, domestic distribution, and international export of both THC and CBD medical cannabis. In May 2018, Chiron listed on the TSX Venture, becoming one of the first Colombian-based medical cannabis companies to trade on any exchange globally. Chiron Life Sciences Corp. is listed on the TSX Venture under the ticker symbol KHRN.
I'm Andres Galofre. I'm the VP of Business Development and co-founder of Chiron. We have a really professional team. Now we have country managers in each jurisdictions where we are playing. We found a tremendous team with an extensive knowledge on the pharma industry, CPG markets as well. And that's the guarantee to make sure that we're going to win in each country where Chiron will operate.
Rodrigo Duran. I am the CPG Business Unit Manager, and right now my job is to consolidate this JV between Chiron and Dixie, and to address all the opportunities that we're seeing in the US and Latin market with Dixie and Chiron brands. Yeah, we're trying to launch the Cuida brand in the US market and bring all Dixie brands into the Latin market. In different countries, we have different markets, we have different opportunities to address, and that's what we're going to be doing the following months.
My name is Luis Marquez. I am the country manager for Chiron at Peru. I have been working in the pharmaceutical industry for more than 25 years. I am a biologist, and I have worked in different leadership positions in different multinational companies before Chiron. Well, I think it's very useful for Peruvian patients to have a regulation and legislation because there are medical needs for different kind of patients in Peru. And based on that, we are ready to be part of this new process in the country. In Peru, we are consolidating the operation following the regulation that was approved recently by the Peruvian government, and especially regarding the medical use of cannabis. And we are working very hard with the medical societies in order to educate physicians to be well prepared when our products would be in the market.
My name is Rodrigo Azócar. I am a country manager for Chiron in Chile, and I have been working in the pharmaceutical industry for about 20 years in different companies. And my main role in the Chiron in Chile will be the education of the doctors about the use of the cannabis medicinal. And we have an important agreement with Fundación Daya. They have about 35,000 patients in Chile. They need treatment with medical cannabis, and I think that will be the most important function in the country. We have an important role in education about the use and the cannabis, the importance about cannabis for the treatment, and we hope that a short time the patients have access to the medical cannabis in Chile.
Hi, my name is Marco Gorta. I'm the country manager of Chiron Uruguay. We have been working in the cannabis industry since the legislation in Uruguay. Uruguay is the first country in the world to legislate to regulate cannabis, so we have a lot of experience in the cannabis. From Uruguay, you know that the cannabis is a global industry better than nobody. So, and we have a big license in Uruguay, so we can supply biggest market like Brazil. And we are in the Mercosur, that's a trade bloc, and we have Brazil and Argentina. So we can supply Brazilian and Argentinian markets from Uruguay with a lot of advantages in other countries.
Right.
We have a biggest capacity. We have 120 tons per year to produce capacity of flowers, dry flowers. So we can use that to choose Brazilian markets, no, to Argentina, but we can use that even to Europa, okay? And even now, some companies in Uruguay already send to Germany some flowers.
My name is Luis Alfonso Chavez. I am the responsible of the Chiron operation in Mexico. The current government decided to review the guidelines for the use of cannabis in the country. Chiron is a company that respects 100% the law, so we are waiting for the government to issue the new guidelines. And meanwhile, we are trying to participate actively in the support of the legislators based on the knowledge we have in other latitudes. At the same time, we are working very actively in educating doctors to make sure that the day the government issues the final rules, they are fully prepared to benefit the patients with cannabis products. We have more than 10 million people that could be benefited from cannabis products, medicinal cannabis products in Mexico, in several disease states. So we see a great opportunity here to work with the doctors and to work with the medical community to benefit these patients that are alive. I mean, they are waiting for therapies that can help the diseases that they have.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What do you think of that?
You know, all over the place, all over the map, as it were. Have you figured out how to work your computer?
Yep. Yeah, we're gonna do some things here. We're gonna look at, you know.
Oh, are you on the GFN network?
Yes, I am.
I don't believe you.
Well, I'll show you. Watch this. Okay, so what do you want to look at? We want to look at Hexo.
Yeah.
Let's see what's going on with Hexo. HEXO. So I'm just putting up a chart here, folks. No, that ain't on.
You gotta refresh your NDI there.
I do?
Yeah.
How do I know? I can't do that either.
Well, what do I look like? Tech support? I'm gonna try to throw up an NDI and see what happens here. But nevertheless, there's quite a bit of chatter surrounding world-class extracts, which we're going to run in a minute, but yeah. Let me see if I can get this going. Hexo.
What do you think of Beyond Meat?
Oh, Beyond, you know what? I ate it for the first time. Have you had one?
No.
I got it at A&W. This is sort of embarrassing, but anyway, I couldn't eat meat for a little bit, so I grabbed a Beyond Meat burger, and it's overhyped a little bit, but it is actually really good. They nailed the texture, but not so much the taste. But in a burger, you've got all this other stuff in it, so you can't really ever, it's never this like pure beef taste. So it was, I was impressed. I would give it like maybe a 6.5 out of 10. I actually would prefer it to a Harvey's burger, which I find disgusting.
Right.
But I like regular A&W ones. Anyway, it was interesting because I finally got to try it, and I do see that it's, you know, miles better than other regular veggie burgers. But the stock has just went bananas.
It's $153 today.
Yeah, that's a 550% increase from, you know, what you could have got it as an IPO.
Right, right. Yeah, interesting times here. Always interesting, and you know we had that double top. We got that sort of double top formation on the S&P. My computer's being serviced. Some servicing going on.
Well, we can see if mine. There's Hexo.
There you go. Wow.
Look at me with the computer skills.
Oh my God! 11, 9, 8, 7. So that's come down dramatically from that $11. Look at that.
We're looking at a year here.
Wow.
So, yeah, but you know, overall, it's doing a hell of a lot better than many other names out there.
No,
but it's still
And so their results came out and they weren't up to snuff?
Here's the 3-month. Yeah, it's just a big sell-off the past couple days. But
See, what I don't like is they took out the April lows.
yeah,
You see those April lows? They took
Yeah.
those out. That's not good. Now, it may rally back and do a little back and fill, but I think the trend is entrenched. The trend's entrenched.
the trend is your friend.
The trend is your friend. If I
Yeah.
don't have any friends, who should I go see? I should go see a trend.
But with the whole sell in May thing, where can you have to wait till what, the end of August to have a sustained comeback, or some massive news like another Canopy $1 billion deal, or like what's?
You know, don't you think though, as time goes on here, that like we've had some big deals.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a lot more big deals to come, or now do you think people are saying, well, they did this deal and I don't think they're too happy with that? Like,
It's consolidation. You'll have people that just.
Corona's got the $33. It's now just under. It's just over 20.
Yeah, but I remember when it was 6.
And they said it was a piece of shit. Remember?
Well, I was there and I thought it was great, but then they did their deal with. Who did they do their deal with? The massive company.
Tobacco company.
I should know this, but anyway, it was sort of a delayed reaction, and then it just kept going up and up and up and up. So it's still in a good spot. I mean, if you were looking at it earlier on, you would have done just fine. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look at Cantra, 670.
See, that's one where I'm. Like, they seem like a good company.
I know, but they missed badly, didn't they? Remember when they came out with the results a while back? They missed badly in the stock. You know, people don't forget. People don't forget. Look at, there's Kronos going by.
You know, you could look, like people in our chat are looking at some of this stuff as a buying opportunity, but it's risky because, like you're saying, you're trying to catch the falling knife potentially, right? So I looked at, one I had invested in the past and sold it in like a matter of a few weeks was C21 Investments. I saw it today and it's in the 80-cent range, which is lower than when I got it at $1.10 and sold it around $2.
Right.
But so I was really surprised to see that one, below $1 as well. So there's a lot of stuff that's really, really low now.
Yeah. Well, and if you need to raise money, how much more difficult is it? Like, in other words, this stuff all plays on itself, right? I mean, investors, they're willing to put money in if they think they're going up, but if they think it's quiet, why would they put money in?
Well, and we're in the middle of June. How much does that matter?
Seems to matter a lot. Like, I'm telling you, this is as quiet a venture exchange as I've seen in a while. And I've seen some sell in Mays and go aways.
Yeah. Would you invest in a pot stock right now, or would you wait a little bit?
Like on a brand new one?
Yeah.
I'd only do it now if I thought the fundamentals were able to grow, and that the price of the stock would grow commensurately with those fundamentals that are growing. But just to get into space, take your pick. Like, there's a lot of deals out there.
Look at Liberty Health Sciences at 58 cents.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Okay. Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
How many of these marijuana companies that you know about are at the highest they've ever been?
None of them.
And why not? To give us an opportunity to get in so we can make a lot of money? Doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way. I'm leery. Look at MedMen, 268, down 20 cents.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a shit.
You're leery.
I'm what's the guy's name? O'Leary.
Dennis O'Leary.
No, Mr. Wonderful.
Oh man, I can't stand that guy. Kevin, you're talking about.
Kevin O'Leary.
So, are you familiar with?
I'm leery.
Well, you may be leery, but are you familiar with Seattle Mobile? That's one James has interviewed in the past, and there's a new one, so we're going to take a look at that right now.
Let's take a look at it.
I'm joined now by Mark Sillenfreund. He is the CEO of Seattle Mobile, trading on the TSX Venture under the symbol SIM. Mark, welcome back. It's been 5 years since we've had this conversation.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Yeah. Okay, Mark, so give us an update. What has happened over the last little while for Siyata Mobile? You seem to be making some great progress.
So we've been working with a Tier 1 U.S. carrier to launch our key product, which is the UV350. That is the first smartphone that was made specifically for commercial vehicles. Just to give you an idea, there are over 13 million commercial vehicles in North America. Those could be buses, trucks, ambulances, police cars, RCMP vehicles. We're about to launch in the United States. We launched with Bell about 3 months ago, and we started sales already in Canada of this product. And we're very excited that now we're going after the largest market in the world, which is the United States. And we'll be doing that with AT&T, which is obviously one of the largest operators in the United States and in the world. The market opportunity for us there is tremendous, and we think that it's going to be a game changer for the company going forward.
Okay. What is the difference between a cellular device for a commercial vehicle versus a normal one?
So if you want to use your iPhone or your Samsung phone in a truck or in a bus or in a police car, first of all, it's illegal. But second of all, it won't work well. The noise cancellation is an issue. So the person on the far side picks up all the noise that's in the background in that truck, in that vehicle. And therefore, regular consumer devices are not appropriate for commercial vehicles, not to mention that they're not legal. We've created a device that replaces land mobile radio. So really what we're doing is we're not replacing a cellular handset per se, we're replacing a land mobile radio, which is used by millions of fleets around the world.
Okay, so it's essentially a cell phone based on two-way radio bandwidth and technology.
So it's a cell phone that is based on something called push-to-talk over cellular, which is the cellular version of land mobile radio. And that's really where we see the market moving. And we think that that's going to be the market going forward. Land mobile radio has been around for about 50 years. The next generation of land mobile radio is push-to-talk over cellular. This is something that all of the major North American cellular operators are very focused on. So whether it's Bell, Telus, Verizon, Sprint, AT&T in the United States. And we are the only device that is made specifically for commercial vehicles. And as I said, there's about 13 million commercial vehicles in North America, so this is a very large-scale market for us.
Sure. How much of that market can you capture over time, do you think?
We think that we can certainly sell, hundreds of thousands to millions of devices. We think that we can sell anywhere from hundreds of thousands of devices to millions of devices. The U.S. government recently set up a network together with an AT&T called FirstNet, which basically allows first responders to use push-to-talk over cellular using cellular phone technology. We are going to be the first and probably the only device in the near term that has a specific device for commercial vehicles. So for the FirstNet network, obviously. So that means that police cars, ambulances, fire trucks, even yellow school buses will be able to use our device. And again, it's millions of devices that can potentially go into these types of vehicles in the United States and Canada, so it's a very large market.
Right. What have you got to deal with in terms of competitors who might be targeting the same audience?
So we started the company about 7 years ago, and we've already sold over 250,000 devices that are 3G devices, cellular devices, for commercial vehicles. We don't have any competition. We don't know of anybody that has made a smartphone that has push-to-talk over cellular capabilities. There's nobody else out there that's doing it at the current time. And we think that we certainly have a 2 to 3 year edge or lead over any competition that would want to come into this market and do something similar.
So are you expecting to expand into global markets at some point?
We're going to be very focused over the next year, certainly in the United States and Canada, but we do expect to also go into additional markets. We're already in trials in markets in Europe. We plan to also start in South America. But clearly, the main market for us is going to be in North America.
Okay, and do you manufacture your devices?
We manufacture all of our devices, correct. We develop the devices, we manufacture them, and then we sell them to the cellular carriers.
Oh, interesting. And so what kind of margin business is that?
So the margins are very healthy. I can't say specifically what the margins are going to be, but it's clearly going to be much healthier than the margins that we've had until now. And I think that there's going to be a dramatic change in the company, both in our top line numbers and our bottom line numbers, simply because we're going into much larger markets with a device that's going to cost, the end customer around $1,000. The devices that we were selling until now cost the end customer around $300. So the ASP is about 3 times the price of what we were selling until now, and the gross margins are very healthy. So we think that for a company like Ciata, which is a small microcap company, going into the United States with large carrier as partners, we think that it's going to be very dramatic for the company.
And is this something that the major carriers would ultimately see as a valuable offering for their product line?
Oh, I can assure you that the carriers would not be launching our product if they didn't feel that it was very valuable for their customers.
Okay.
All of these carriers only range products that they feel they can sell large quantities of the products and bring value to their customers. So certainly this is going to be a valuable product for the carriers.
Interesting. So how much time and how much more money are you going to need to get to a state of profitability?
We believe that already in the coming quarters we'll be profitable.
Oh, great.
And we think that the company is going to be a very different company simply because we have much larger markets that we're going after that we didn't have until now. We've spent about 2.5 years working to get approval at AT&T and at FirstNet. That's what I was saying. The barrier of entry is extremely, extremely high. And I think that all of the work that we've done until now will allow us to bear the fruits in the coming years from this product and from future products that we plan to launch in the coming years.
Okay, so when you say future products, is there an R&D effort that continuously develops and rolls out new products?
These are technology products, and there's always R&D efforts that are ongoing. Of course, we're going to be launching a 5G product probably sometime at the end of next year or in 2021. So that is in the works. We always want to stay ahead of the market. Having said that, we believe that the current product will be able to run with it for many, many years, 3, 4, 5 years at least, similar to our 3G product, which we launched in 2013 and has been working until now. So we've been selling that product for about 6 years. So it's not like a regular handset that you switch every 18 months. These products sit in a truck and you can sell that type of a product for many years. So we'll have a 5G product next year and we'll have additional products that are currently in development, for sure.
Is it conceivable at all that this will ultimately become a consumer product?
We don't believe so. Our products are made for commercial vehicles specifically.
Okay.
Everything in our world is hardwired. So unlike every consumer likes to have everything Bluetooth and wireless and whatnot, because these devices are mission critical devices, you have to be able to reach the police car. You have to be able to reach the bus. It has to be connected to the battery. It has to always be charged. It has to be connected to an external antenna so that you have better connectivity and better coverage. Because of that, our devices are very focused on commercial vehicles and on enterprise customers and not necessarily on consumer customers.
So I'm just curious, when you say 5G devices, does that mean you'll be competing with the likes of Huawei and all of those big 5G infrastructure providers?
No, definitely not.
Do you need to rely on them for your devices?
No. We work on the infrastructures that are in place from the cellular carriers.
Okay.
So if Bell has an infrastructure from Nokia or from Motorola or from any other infrastructure company, of course we'll be working with their infrastructure. We can work with any infrastructure. We're not dependent on Huawei or any other Chinese vendor. But our products are, in that sense, neutral, and we can work with AT&T or with any of the U.S. carriers on any infrastructure that they may be using.
Okay. Finally, what are the big milestones you hope to hit in the next 6, 12, 24 months that are really going to transform the company?
Revenue, and profit.
That's a good answer.
Yes.
That's a great answer. All right, Mark, we're going to leave it there for now. We'll come back to you in a lot less than we did last time. Thanks very much for joining me today.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Let's talk about Aurora. Recently, your financials, you've more or less delivered on
Here are the headlines moving markets today.
If you're lucky to buy it 3 days ago at 37 cents,
I think it has a lot to do with some of these smaller names giving really...
Recreational cannabis is here. It's quite dry. So I'm going to eliminate the stocky bits. Chris Heath joins me now. He's the CEO of Ventura Cannabis, trading on the CSE under the symbol VCAN. Chris, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Chris, let's start with an overview. What is the business of Ventura?
Sure. So we are a California branded products company, and we decided California because it's one of the largest markets in the world at 39 million people. It kind of sets the trend for the U.S. in general in many different ways. It has the oldest cannabis kind of culture to it, being that it's been medically legal for a number of years, and so we find California, between the market size and kind of how it's been a trendsetter, to be the place to be in to establish our brand and establish our suite of products.
Sure. So VCAN comes from a original business of having in and outpatient addiction treatment centers, and you've kind of stepped away from that to focus more on cannabis, but you're keeping some focus on the addiction treatment business?
We're really just keeping, I wouldn't say keeping focus on it. I would say that we are that's helping kind of fund the business, and that we have sold the outpatients, and we have an annuity stream for the next 3 years coming in. The inpatients, there are some synergies to market our cannabis products to those inpatient clients, because as studies have come out and shown the link between opioid use and how that can be treated with cannabis. We feel there is a strong synergy there. But we really are focused on, growing our cannabis business through, distribution, through acquiring distribution channels, i.e. kind of the dispensaries, and developing our products and, putting them through the distribution channels that we acquire.
Okay, so targeting a MSO model, for want of a better description.
Sure.
Okay, cool. So you've got a really tight share structure, which is something I want to point out, because most cannabis companies do not have what we would refer to as tight share structures. Sure. So tell me how you evolved the company and recapitalized it.
Well, I mean, I think we are happy with kind of our structure as far as our balance sheet. We have a very healthy balance sheet right now. We're cash flow positive. We have a number of deals we're seeing in California that we can kind of take that that strong balance sheet and pursue. And then, we've signed a purchase agreement in Los Angeles for a vertically integrated business, which has a manufacturing arm. They're already developing a brand. They have that brand in the dispensing unit they have in Los Angeles. And so we look at that as kind of our home hub, where we can take products, develop products, and then kind of use this, if you would, like hub and spoke kind of model, where the hub is the manufacturing, and the spokes are the dispensaries that we're acquiring, and we can kind of start putting the products into the dispensaries through there.
Sure. The markets you've chosen, California and Oregon, some of the most oversupplied markets right now. What's your strategy for differentiating against such a crowded landscape?
Sure. So I mean, I would say Oregon, we have one dispensary there, but that was really to kind of dip our toes into the water. California is really where we believe that that where we should be for this company. As far as kind of how we differentiate, right now the market is a bit segmented, and it's a kind of it's in its early stages, and in early stage markets, you don't see a lot of segmentation among kind of who the target audience is. So we are looking to develop segments, primarily for the elderly, 65 and plus, upperly mobile males, upperly mobile females, around 35 to 55, and because of our link with the rehab business, opiate addicts, and develop products that are specifically targeted to those segments. Because right now, a 65-year-old woman walks into a dispensary, she sees the same kind of suite of products that the 25-year-old that maybe dropped out of high school or what have you, goes in and gets. So we are looking to segment the market. Because it is kind of a new market, and we feel like that doesn't exist right now. So that's where we see we can differentiate ourselves.
Okay, and so tell me, what's the revenue picture look like going out 12 months, 24
Sure.
months?
So right now we are looking at probably an exit run rate of about $11 million between the purchase agreements we have, the LOIs we have, the term sheets we have. We're looking at about an $11 million exit rate for this fiscal year, and then we're looking to grow that to about $20 million the following year.
That's impressive. So do you have plans to expand into other states at this point?
I hate to be somebody that rules anything out, but right now the focus really is California. California is, there's so much to be done in California. It's, again, it's 39 million people, which is, a little bit bigger than Canada itself.
Sure.
So,
and one could argue the highest ratio of marijuana consumers per
one might say that
state
one might say that as well. So
right.
So yeah, we're really focused on California right now.
Very cool. Okay, so California's, struggling under a marketplace that's at least in part still black market, but they have started to enforce it.
Yeah, it's been very encouraging to see kind of the enforcement coming down the line.
You bet. So do you see the marketplace conditions in California improving for newer entrants like Ventura?
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%.
Okay.
Yep.
So then what kind of strategy do you have in terms of branding that's going to attract your target segments?
Right. So, I mean, we have a very talented and branding team that's experienced in this market. We've engaged people that have deep knowledge of not just the cannabis market, but the California cannabis market, right? Because it differentiates between states and between countries, and it can be very specific, right? And so we've engaged people that know the industry very well, know how to speak to those people very well, and have kind of started to develop ideas and suites of products that that speak to those segments, specifically through what we feel is dosage control and discrete products. These four segments, again, the 65 plus, the 35 to 55 upwardly mobile male, 35-55 upwardly mobile female, and the opiate addicts, they all, in our kind of estimation from the research we've done, from the people we've talked to, they're looking for something that is discrete and something that has some sort of dosage control to it. Because a lot of these people, the last thing they want to do is, smoke a huge bong rip and be completely, out of it. They want something that they can, properly dose, like when you go to a bar and you get a cocktail, right? You know how much is, you have one cocktail, you know what that is. So they want something that they can dose, and they want something that is something that is discreet, that maybe doesn't necessarily say that they're smoking pot, because there still is a bit of a stigma around it. So there is a discreet factor to it as well, and that's how kind of wrapping that all up. That's how we can kind of talk to these different segments.
Do you think that because you're targeting an older segment, that's probably not by default thinking, oh, I could cure myself with some weed? Do you think there's an educational component to that in order to succeed in actually bringing in that audience?
Sure. I mean, I think there is, but I also think that there has been a lot of education. There's a lot of educational kind of components and literature and messaging out there right now, and I think that helps us. That helps us kind of as we're targeting these segments, and specifically the elderly. And I mean, the elderly. I don't know what the exact number is, but I think that people throwing out 10,000 people every day turn 65, right?
Yeah.
So it's not a segment that's going anywhere.
Right.
It's a segment that's growing, and as the education around cannabis grows, and it's only growing, that segment will start to become larger and larger and larger and larger. And so that's why we feel that is a really good one to go after.
Okay, well that's great. That's a great introduction. We'll leave it there for now. Thanks for joining me today.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And now we actually are back. Have you figured out how to work your computer yet?
No.
No?
No, you know what? For some reason, there's this thing called the NDI, and it's not.
Well, whatever. So we saw James there.
Yeah.
He was wearing a ferny shirt with flamingos on it. In the backdrop, you could see the landscape of LA.
Yeah.
It's because he's there. He's there.
Really?
And through the magic of television.
Magic?
Or internet, we brought him here.
You brought him into your home.
Yeah, no, he's got.
What if you're on the park bench?
Well, that too. You've been to LA, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not often, but yeah, a few times.
Yeah. I like it there.
It's hard not to like the weather, eh?
Yeah.
Like you get attached to that.
Doesn't rain. It's like, yeah, it's good. So he's got some good stuff going on down there. So that was interesting with Ventura. There's so many things just to keep track of now. It's too much. I give up.
What are you saying? You saying you're not talking anymore?
Yeah.
Are you tired of talking?
Tired of talking. Well, this isn't my my normal gig. So
No, it's not. That's not.
And people catch on to that. They realize there's some failure going on right now. James will be back though. In fact,
well, probably next week.
I've been promising. No, so this trip for him was like a 20 or 36-hour thing. It was sort of like weird on his schedule. So right before he took off, he was here, and he talked to Anthony Durkatz of World Class Extractors, and here's that.
I'm joined now in studio by Anthony Durkatz, co-founder of World Class Extractions, trading on the CSE under the symbol PUMP, and Rosie Mondin, the CEO of Quadron Canatech, CSE listed QCC. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Rosie, let's start with you.
Sure.
Tell me, what does Quadron Canatech do?
Well, Quadron Canatech, we started around 2016, well actually 2015, getting into the extraction space. We knew early on we didn't want to be in cultivation, and extraction was just where it was all starting to go. We saw that that's where the future was going to go actually, because if you look at all the derivative products, the extracts form the base ingredient for all derivative products in cannabis. So back in 2015, we started putting together some extraction laboratories. We built our first extraction machine arising out of that because the equipment that we were working with was really onerous, hard to deal with. So we decided to develop our own. That's the boss that we came out with. And then from there, we've put together the extraction facilities that allowed us to work out all the bottlenecks in the extraction processes, figure out the ancillary equipment that would be needed to make a really nice oil at the end. And we were focusing on making vape pens for patients.
Okay, and is this a supercritical CO2 type of extraction?
Super, and it can run subcritical as well.
Okay.
Yes, it's a low temp, low pressure system. So that was the first that we came out with.
Sure. And Anthony, give us a quick update on what does World Class Extractions do?
Sure. So World Class founded a technology which is a continuous flow for industrial scale, which was very large scale, where we could process wet or dry flower, which made it very unique. And so, one of the announcements that we made yesterday is that Quadron and World Class have merged. So legally the vote has passed, which we're extremely excited about.
So what's the symbol going to be, QCC or PUMP?
PUMP.
See the shirt?
Okay, so tell me what's the compelling business logic for two extractors combining?
Sure. So we were looking around. We're always looking around, and so the world of extraction is going to go through a lot of changes and fast changes, because that's really where a lot of the action is happening in the industry today. And the concentrates, edibles, things that are made from the extractors are what is gaining ground. So the dry flower is losing ground, and the consumers are consuming more extract or concentrate products. And so you're seeing a lot of action. You're seeing, in terms of performance in the stock market, the extractors have outperformed the rest of the industry over the past 6 months. And so that trend, we believe, is probably going to continue. And so there's so many exciting opportunities. With Pump, we realized that we have to remain on the forefront of technology. And so we've been looking around the globe, and Quadron was a perfect fit. They have a technology which I would say is leading edge today, and their knowledge base and their operators like Rosie are amazing, and they are top in class from what we've been able to see, and so for the price, ultimately we think this is really a steal in so many ways.
And where is Quadron based, Rosie?
We're in Vancouver.
Oh, okay.
Actually, our offices are in Burnaby, and our manufacturing is in Langley, British Columbia.
So as extractors, you're obviously not in the business of cultivating cannabis. Where are you going to get your feedstock?
So what we are doing is actually setting up relationships with partners, joint venture partners, strategic partners, to actually set up these processing facilities in tandem with them, rather than taking on the licensing risk ourselves. Especially now having to build out a facility in full, we work with those who are already late-stage applicants or who are already licensed. And our part in it is that we finance the portion of the project by putting up the extraction side of the facility, and for that, depending on the deal, we take a portion of what comes out.
Very cool. So it's not exactly a toll milling situation, more of a
Contract
joint venture.
manufacturing.
Contract manufacturing.
So what we're doing is setting up, we'd like to see about 6 to 8 facilities that we have our hands in Canada alone. And that allows us actually to continue making products. You know, that was under the medical model before, but now going forward, and you have to think about it, this whole legalization of extracts, edibles, and topicals hasn't even started yet. So we think we're really, really well positioned considering the experience that we have, the machinery that we have, and setting up these partnerships. I'm really excited to get going on this now.
Cool.
And then that's in Canada, and then we're going to be working on, right now I've got lines on 3 deals that we'll be doing down in the US for contract manufacturing of the CBD oils out of hemp.
Okay, and you also made an acquisition in North Carolina of a hemp growing operation.
We did a deal with a farmers co-op in North Carolina, and that'll be the first step. You know, legally, Quadron and Pump had to merge, and so yesterday, well, Friday was the actual vote. Yesterday it was announced. So now we can operate as one company, where you know legally we couldn't before. So the mandate is for Rosie and the entire management team to now begin to ink contracts. We've stated capacity that we can, you know, that we can manufacture by the end of the year with our machinery. So now it's time to fill that capacity with contracts.
Okay, and what is the capacity?
Well, we have 4 machines right now, so that will be having the, like I mentioned, the Boss. That's 50,000 kilos per year that it does in CO2. We also, there's also a lot that we do in pre-processing as well, so to prepare the materials. So the actual weight of the biomass might be different than what actually goes in because we pelletize and crush. So
okay, so when you say 50,000
kilos per year, annual capacity.
That dried flour?
Going in, dried, crushed capacity that's going into the vessel.
Okay.
So that would be for the Boss CO2. Then we have the co-solvent Big Boss that will be doing 500,000 kilos per year. And then we've got the Beast, which is an ethanol extraction system. That one does 1 million kilos capacity per year. Then we have the Big Beast, so it's part of the Beast family. So we have the Boss family and the Beast family.
Ooh,
and the Beast
Boss
family.
And the Beast.
Yeah. And actually we had staff. Our team is really engaged and excited about all of this. So they actually, we had them vote on the name of the Beast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, and so the Big Beast is going to be 5 million kilos per year.
And what products does ethanol extraction result in relative to critical and subcritical CO2?
Well, the ethanol we'll be using mostly for hemp extraction. We can use it for smaller cannabis farms as well, but primarily the big ethanol extractors will be for the hemp side, and then we'll be utilizing the CO2 primarily for cannabis. To note, when we go into the US, we are only going to be doing CBD extraction. We're not going to touch the THC extraction just quite yet, just because it's not worth the risk as far as the non-legalization nationally of recreational cannabis.
Right, you don't want to break out in handcuffs.
No, there's no point in that, but we're going to have enough business, I think, to keep us busy just on the CBD. I mean, if you think about it, the CBD side is really what every human can turn towards, right? Versus the THC, which is going to be more user based on what they want to get out of a psychotropic kind of a high. CBD doesn't give you that. So it's accessible to pretty much every human who wants to use it.
And don't forget dogs.
Oh, the pet therapy side of it is huge. It's a multi-billion-dollar market. So it's not only dogs, every mammal has an endocannabinoid system in it. So I've even been musing on how it might be helpful to horse racing, right? Because they use a lot of pharmaceutical type of products. So I mean, there's joint rehabilitation and just general health and well-being. It might be, well, I think the great thing about legalization is the research that's going to come out of all of this. So I don't even think we can fathom where this is going to be in 10 years. There's going to be a phenomenal amount of research and a phenomenal amount of applications for these products.
You bet. So your goal as a combined entity is to produce the high volume of highest quality concentrated extract to be used as ingredients in the food and medicine industries?
Correct.
Yes. Also, you know, once we've got it and we've built, you know, what I would refer to as almost like a cannabis elevator, you know, then it's there. And when they do eventually legalize cannabis, probably definitely for medicinal purposes, is coming in the USA. You know, that'll open up a whole other door and so many other opportunities. But I think you have to be established in the USA. I mean, you know, the market for CBD is just, it is amazingly large, and it looks like more and more I think every sort of 5 years or so you get some sort of like vitamin or supplement that everybody all of a sudden begins taking, for health reasons, I see CBD and it's my personal value as something that you'll start seeing in even cornflakes in the next sort of 2 to 3 years. And
we are actually aligned in that because I've been saying that as well when I've been speaking, that I can see things being fortified with CBD. I mean, we fortify with niacin, which is an egg extract, right?
I do 48 milligrams of CBD every morning.
Right.
After my cornflakes, so
No,
it's in the cornflakes.
There you go. It'd be so much
buyer.
easier. It could be in our sugars. It could be in our baking flour.
You bet.
Yeah, we just don't know where it's going to go, but I think the opportunities are huge. Wait till the food processors start getting into this.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, that's amazing. It sounds like the combined entity is more than the sum of two parts. So I wish you both very well. We'll leave it there for now. I'll come back to you soon. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you. Thanks, James.
Ta-da! See you at Blinks for Ed. I know it. Let's talk about Aurora. Recently, your financials, you more or less delivered on
Here are the headlines moving markets today.
If you're lucky to buy it 3 days ago at 37 cents,
And I think it has a lot to do with some of these smaller names giving really...
Recreational cannabis is here.
It's quite dry. So I'm going to eliminate the stocky bits.
Well, we've really covered a lot of ground today.
I was pretending like I was talking, the mic was down. But yeah. So we gave the people what they wanted, or at least James Watson seems pretty stoked about that.
So what do you think?
Extraction. Well, extraction's like, it's a big deal.
So is the idea here, instead of smoking cannabis, the actual weed, like rolling a joint, you extract the active ingredient and you put it in other things?
Yeah, like even if you just want oil, right? You just...
Yeah, you don't want this, yeah.
Like CBD oil or THC or whatever you want. And then you can put it in a gummy or put it in oil or do whatever you want. Is that snakeskin?
Yeah.
That's a
snakeskin.
I know a snake when I see it.
Yeah.
No, that's interesting. And James's trip to LA, we're gonna have more stuff coming up next week. We just need a little bit of time. We turned that around pretty quick because
there were some glitches. There were some technical.
Well, it's a lot. Like we, without boring the crap out of people, like we shot, a terabyte of footage and getting it back here to Canada and then turning around. So, but there's some good stuff.
A tera is that a quantity? A terabyte?
1,000 gigabytes.
Is that what a terabyte is?
Yeah.
Ooh. What about a terrible bite?
Well, that's
like a shark bite or something.
Yeah, or maybe if you don't like the Beyond Meat, that would be a terrible bite. McDonald's is going to put it in their breakfast sandwiches.
Come on.
Oh, it's Tim Hortons. Who cares?
Who cares? They've already done it. In fact, I've got a picture here that proves it, because I was in line the other day and someone said, and I'm looking and I showed the guy Beyond Meat.
Yeah.
Beyond Meat.
Yeah. But you can eat it. You can try it. Why wouldn't you? Just out of curiosity.
Well, I'll tell you why. Like, I don't really eat anything anymore that's out of a box. Like, for instance, cereal. I won't eat cereal.
Why?
Well, I would make my own cereal.
Nobody has time for that.
That's it's serious cereal. That's what I call it. Serious cereal.
But what makes you think it's out of a box? Like because the patties, because they press it and put it in a box?
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about cereal.
I know, but the meat. Are you going to try it or not?
Yes.
Okay.
You know what you should do? You should get a gun, put it to my head, say, you eat this shit right now or else I'm going to blow your head off.
Well, we were talking about gout the other day, last week.
You and I have gout.
Yeah. But so like if you're suffering from that, you could have that, sure.
So what do I have? Beyond Meat? That's going to cure my gout?
No, but you can't eat a frickin' steak, right?
A frickin' steak?
Yeah, you could have the
fricassee,
the fake stuff.
Fricassee.
Yeah. So let's talk about next week a little bit, and because
I just want to talk about one thing before we decide to sign off, okay? Because the Raptors, etc. WRR, Walker River, gold's had a big move here in the last couple weeks. Say it's up about $70, which is not a big percentage, but 5%.
Yeah.
Walker River was on the show. They have this unbelievable package of land in one of the best jurisdictions in the world, Nevada.
When were they on the show?
Do you want the exact date?
No, just roughly.
Well, if I'm going to say 3 months ago, 3 months ago.
Okay.
And they've got now money to drill this thing properly, and they're getting super high grades. And this is where companies get taken out. I would like to put up the chart, which I can't do because of my WRR. This thing looks like, in my mind, and it's in a sector that's getting a lot of, it's hard to, but WRR, Walker River Resources, looks like it's getting ready for a move.
Yeah. Well, as we said with gold, if it catches on even a little bit, like next week, I alluded to this earlier, but we have our first non-weed site tour, which is at Galani Gold.
And where is that?
In South Africa.
Are you going?
No, it's already shot. So we're going to release it next week.
Who went down there?
A colleague. So it's, but it's great. You know what's great about Galani is it's operating mines. They're operating mines.
Right.
They make revenue in the junior space.
They generate revenue and are they making money?
Yeah, I think while they're expanding their second mine, I think they're using profits from the first one to help bring that up to snuff. But either way, I like that. I like that we're talking with them, and we're going to show that. I think people will be pretty impressed with the sheer scale of that.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive.
Like I get why there's been such a interest in mining in Canada, especially from the early stage. Because if you find a gold mine, stock moves.
Yeah.
This is not about going up 5% a year. This is like going up 1,000% in the next month. I digress, or I exaggerate there a bit. And right now, though, you can have great results. Nobody seems to care, because it's I don't know. It's weird what's going on.
Well, it's directly related, at least in part, to the popularity of weed stocks.
Yeah, and you know what? The weed stocks now have taken back, and so people have been stung a bit.
Well, this is drilling season too, isn't it? So this is where you start to see results from some of the companies.
The results won't start for another month.
Okay.
They're just starting to drill. Yeah, especially in some of the, BC. I know. I'm talking to Mike Blady, who we haven't talked about in a while, but Mike's going to start the Golden Triangle program.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
They've got some great targets.
There's a few tickers out there, and then there's some in the East Coast, and yeah. So
what ticker is really important?
Yeah. That's the most important.
That one's the most important.
Yeah.
That one shuts off.
You're screwed.
It's going to be very quiet.
So, what else do we got going on next week? So we are going to be talking to Halo Labs. We've got Galani Gold site tour.
Is Halo California company?
Yeah, I believe so. We're going to find out more about that. James is pretty pumped up about that. Yeah. So a mix of gold and weed, and what else do you want? A site tour. It's going to be fun. James will be back.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, just wondering, is he going on any wine excursions when he's there, or just in a local bar?
This was a quick turnaround time. I don't know.
Quick turnaround?
I don't know if he had time to do that. So, but here we are.
Here we are.
Oh, someone's asking about Crown and copper.
Well,
Copper. Let's just do copper.
Well, okay, so you know what? Everything says that we're going to need more copper.
Yeah.
The price keeps drifting. Nobody seems to care. And yeah, I don't know if it's something that's wrong with the commodity markets. Zinc's got the same problem. Like, these commodities are essential for the growth of the world.
You think we'll start seeing headlines first before any of the stocks fall in place? It'll be, so and so can't source copper, prices, skyrocketing, whatever. Because you're right, nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And there's a chart that was sent to me, and I'd like to put it up and show the world that the relative value of junior resource stocks compared to other sectors. It's never been the divergence or the difference has never been greater. Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
But people will have to at some point, right? You won't really have a choice because
the cheapest way to move energy is through copper wire.
Yeah.
You can't do it through. You can try silver. Well, silver works. Gold works.
It's more expensive than copper.
Duh. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
If you had gold wiring in your house, guess what? Your house would disappear tomorrow.
Maybe we should start wearing copper stuff.
I think that copper, that's a good thing.
We'll grow mullets and wear copper.
Copper bracelets.
Yeah, I'm down.
Do you know that 99% of all bacteria that comes in contact with copper dies?
Yes, we've had, actually, I wish we followed up with that. We had a couple of companies in here that was exactly their game plan.
Yeah.
So I wonder what happened.
Well, you know what a great idea for a bar is? Have a thin copper alloy on the bar. And I think PJ's has got that. If you look at their bars, there's copper in the actual metal that's on their bar. And that's
and that mule
for your
drink.
protection.
You know that mule drink? A lot of bars give you a copper cup for that. I don't know. Some of the colleagues around here drink that.
Mule drink?
Broken down mule. What's it called? What do you drink? Anyway.
Rusty mule.
That's it. So. Maybe.
Rusty mule.
They give you copper.
Oh, it's rusty nail. Rusty
anyway,
nail. Okay. Well, you got anything to add?
No, not really. I think next week is going to be fun, though, so check out the website. We're going to have a decent amount of content popping up throughout the week, some pretty good stuff. So, also don't forget to like us or dislike us. I don't care.
Yeah.
Subscribe.
I might have a real investments speculation surprise coming up here, something that looks very interesting in the sort of the artificial intelligence slash
you know what's cool
IA,
is there's
AI.
Yeah, I like the fact that even though markets are sort of down, there's new stuff that's sort of emerging and coming.
Esports is
people walking through our office. Things are starting to change a little bit, so it's cool. So anyway, thanks everyone for watching, and we'll catch you all next time.